Brenda, I just got $100,000 deposited right into my bank account. What is all this money for?
That's money for you to use for your schooling. You told me before that you wanted to go overseas for college, right? So I wanted to give you that money as a way of getting you out there.
Wait. Why are you giving me this kind of money, though? I know I've told you before about how I want to go overseas for college, but I knew it would cost money. And I was planning on working to make some of that money. You didn't have to borrow this money or anything like that, right?
It's not borrowed or anything, so you can relax. This happens to be money I obtained from my parents after they passed away.
Wait, you got this money as inheritance?
Last month, both my parents passed away at the same time, right? And while I've been over at their house taking care of it and cleaning it up, I found their wills. They told me that there would be no will, but after cleaning around in the house, I found them in my father's nightstand.
Really? So that must mean you found more than enough to where you were able to give me this much for my dream.
That's right. But I'm a bit upset that they never used this money up while they were still around. They could have had it all, going into a really nice retirement condo or something. They always told me that they didn't have any money and that they wanted to stay in their old home together.
I feel that you should be getting all this money though, Brenda. You worked a whole lot and spent most of your time taking care of your parents, so you deserve this money more than I do. I feel terrible using the money you were given on my schooling.
What are you talking about, Alex? Let me tell you right now that I got enough money from my mom and dad that I'm totally fine handing you $100,000. I think this is the kind of money I'd like to share with those that I love. So please, don't get the wrong idea and use all that money up making your dream of studying overseas come true. It's only right for me to give you money as you're my son. I never thought I'd have that kind of money to give you, but you should take it and use it. That's what I want you to do. Or could this all mean that you don't see me as your mother? Maybe you don't want my money because you don't feel as though I'm like your mother at all.
That's not it at all. I think of you as being my real mum, Brenda. And I'm really happy to hear you calling me your son. Actually, having all this money to spend on school makes me really happy.
Then please take it and don't say anything else to me about it. I love you so much and think of you as an amazing son, so please show me that you can become even more amazing in another country.
Thank you so much for this. I'm going to get right to work, talking with one of the schools I'm really wanting to go to.
Yoo-hoo, Mom! I know it's been 2 years now, but how are you doing? Huh? Christine? What do you want with me right now? Why are you asking me that like you don't want to hear from me? Your favorite daughter is finally getting back in touch with you, so you should be more excited than that. And actually, I was a bit worried about you, hence me texting you again. You're worried about me? I heard that Grandma and Grandpa passed away, so I was just assuming that you might be pretty down after all that happened. You'd always been around those two, taking great care of them, right? So I'm sure you're very lonely now and sad. I never thought that you, of all people, would be worried about me. Especially after you left me to take care of my parents and then kicked me out of your life. So strange to be hearing from you like this again. Hey now! Don't say something scary like that, alright? I didn't kick you out of anything. You're making it look like I'm some kind of horrible daughter to you. Well, that's because you have been a horrible daughter to me. Neither you or your father ever came near me when I was having to care for my parents, and it hurt. Instead, you actually grew further away from me and made sure I was aware of that. And just as I was having a terrible time having to balance out my life and caring for my mom and dad, you started to complain about the chores at home never being done. And started to say that I smelled awful after coming home from caring for my parents before running to your room and leaving me with all the chores to have to do then. And in the end, you handed in your own parents' divorce papers, right? Aw, I'm sorry about back then. I was just like Dad and very busy with a whole lot of things. That's it. It made me a little moody is all. And because of my moodiness, I happened to get you and Dad divorced. Excuse me. Well, come on now. Dad was so busy having to work from morning to night every day of the week and never had time for you. And I myself was in the middle of looking for a job but wasn't having any luck. So both Dad and I couldn't be asked to do the chores at home and made you do them all instead. All you had to do was take care of our family, but you always did stupid things like go to Grandma and Grandpa's place to help them. I was really pissed at you for focusing on them all the time instead of on our house, and that made me even more moody. So that's your reasoning for kicking me out of that house? And out of your life? I can't believe it. But hey, after you were gone, I began to understand just how important you were. Both Dad and I learned that there was some use for you. What? We started to learn just how tough doing the chores is and how dirty as well. And we also learned that having to care for others is quite a difficult task. And looking online and watching the news, we learned. But it was too late then, because I already had handed in Dad and your divorce papers and got you both separated. I'm so sorry about that. Are you really here to apologize to me for that? I actually wanted to apologize to you back then, but I was too afraid of calling you. I had started to think that you would hold all of that against Dad and I and didn't want you doing anything to us. But I just heard that Grandma and Grandpa died. I guess they couldn't stick around any longer, could they? And I'm sure losing both your parents must be hurting your heart so badly, right? What has gotten into you, Christine? You are a lot different than you were 2 years ago. It's only natural for me to be worried about my mom, right? So that's why I'm thinking next time you and I can go out for food together. Actually, how about we go to a resort for the weekend and relax together? What? I was thinking us two could go to one of those really luxurious and expensive resorts in Cancun and relax there. This time I promise to be there for you and make sure you can feel my love. I'm happy to see that you're feeling that way, but you are actually willing to come take me to Cancun to a resort there for a weekend to relax? What? When it comes to money, you're the one that's loaded, right? I heard you got $2 million from your parents after they died. I was planning on having you pay for the expensive resort and all that's needed with that money for us. What? Why do you know about the money I inherited from my mom and dad? And how do you know the amount I received? Dad told me all about it. When he had heard about your parents dying, he immediately started to search and find out how much money you'd be getting. That bastard did that? Both Dad and I have been waiting for you to contact us about it, okay? But after a week, you never got around to telling us about either of your parents dying or the money. That's when I thought you might be so saddened by their deaths that you didn't have it in you to talk with anyone about it. So that's why I contacted you first instead. So this is all about the money I received then. I knew that the amount of money I received was far too large to go unnoticed. But I thought I would have had at least a few years before someone found out about it. Instead, that dick looked into it the moment he heard about my parents' passing. So, when are we going to Cancun? I have a lot of PTO to use up, so any time is fine with me. If you really want to, this weekend would be the perfect time to go. I have no reason to go there. And taking you, of all people, to a resort for the weekend would never go well for me mentally. Especially since you only want to be around me for my money. Huh? I am giving you a chance to finally meet your favorite daughter after 2 years. You really think it's okay to say such rude things to me when I'm being so generous? I wasn't being rude to you about it. I happen to have the right to choose who I'd like to go with to a resort, and I've chosen not to go with you. If you keep saying things like that to people, you will really be forever alone. Not only did you lose both your daughter and your husband in a divorce, but now you're not going to have anyone around you when you become a grandma yourself. If you keep that kind of toxic attitude up, you're going to die all by yourself with not a single soul around you. I don't think that ever happened to me. So you can stop worrying about me. Do you really think that just because you have $2 million now, you're never going to end up alone? I actually do think that. With money like this, I'm sure I can make something happen to keep me from being alone. I can choose to find myself a new man if I want to grow old with, or I can pay to put myself into a retirement community. Sure you can. You can have all the money in the world, but being a toxic mess like you will never bring people around you. If anything, people will run away from you when they hear about the kind of person you've become. Then your life will be even worse knowing everyone hates you. I'm sure that could always be possible. You can never buy someone else's love and friendship with just money. But you can save yourself from a future like that right now. As long as you start paying for me, I'll come right back to you and be your true daughter again. If you start paying $3,000 a month for me, I'll be around you all the time. How does that sound? What? $3,000 a month? And to seal the deal on that, you'll have to take me to Cancun first. Then once I've found that I can trust you, you can start paying me that $3,000 a month to keep me around. Even if you can't be around Dad anymore, you can have me back as your daughter again. How about that? Do you want to sign up for a subscription to me? So you're saying I can be your mother again for $3,000? Why would I ever waste my money on something with no merit? But you just told me a second ago, right? You can't buy someone's love and friendship with just money. Well, I'm telling you right now that with a small payment of $3,000 every month, you can do just that. You would never want to grow up to become lonely and old, right? I am willing to love you for the rest of your life as long as you keep that $3,000 coming. You should be thankful for this special deal. I only have a son right now, and he's all I need. What? So you don't have to worry about me ever becoming old and alone, because that'll never happen. I have someone very important to me as my family. So because of that, I don't need anything from you. Now, you hold your horses, Mom. Who is your son? Ah, did you get yourself a pet or something? Jeez, Mom, you really are such an idiot sometimes. Thinking that an animal would ever be able to give you the same love and affection as a human is crazy. Huh? I never said he was a pet. I don't even have any pets. I would never get a pet to keep me company in my older age. If I passed away, what would happen to it? Then tell me who this son of yours is. Wait, did you get remarried? But Dad would have heard something about that had it actually happened. I am not remarried to anyone. I actually went and adopted my own kid. And that's why I now have a son. Huh? You adopted a son? Mom! You actually went out and got yourself an adopted son? What the hell do you think you're doing? What do you mean? I just wanted to have a son is all. I thought that with a son, I could have someone to raise and care for still and wouldn't have to worry about being alone as I got older. So that's why I chose to adopt. I have no idea why you would do something like that. I get that after losing your parents, you can become really distressed and all, but you went and adopted a child? Did you become so saddened by the loss of your parents that you actually went crazy? You're being rude. I have not gone crazy in any way, nor did I do this out of my sadness after losing my parents. I have had him long before my mom and dad passed, and he is very close to me now. I knew him even before I adopted him, and after a long time of getting to know one another, I was able to legally go through with the adoption. This year, actually. So you've known him for a long time then. So this must mean that I know him as well. I'm pretty sure you don't know a thing about him, nor does he know about you and your dad. I first met him while he was at his grandma's retirement home. But you probably wouldn't care to hear anymore, since you think of things like retirement homes and caring for the elderly as stupid. You met him at a retirement home? When my mom started getting close to her final days, she developed dementia, and it was hard for me to care for her on her own. So every once in a while, I had her go to a retirement home on the weekend so that Dad and I could relax a little at home. And, well, one of the times I went in to go get her, I ran into a young man volunteering there. And after we first met, we'd always talk to one another whenever I'd be around. But he told me something very interesting the first time I met with him. He told me that I look a lot worse off than most of the elderly living there, and then proceeded to ask me if I was all right.
He was volunteering there as a kid?
He was so kind to me, and to think he paid enough attention to realize I wasn't okay. After that, he and I became really close. And, well, he told me that he was in a foster home at the time and went there to volunteer because it was a good thing to do with a lot of his free time. But he would soon be turning 18 and would have to leave the foster home for good. We talked a lot about both of our situations and came to really want to help one another out.
So, you're telling me because of all that, you chose to adopt him?
Well, it was still close to the time you and your dad had kicked me out of your lives. And he had told me he only had a few more months left before he had to leave that foster home. He really wanted to go to college after getting out of there, but he wouldn't have any support once the foster home kicked him out. When he told me about his dreams, I really felt for him. I wanted to support him so badly because I lost the child I was going to cheer for. So after a year of going through the whole process, I was able to adopt him and he moved into my home.
Are you an imbecile? You're going to tell me you fell for a nameless and parentless loser like him? He's not even related to you by blood, and you're going to call him your son? You are a total idiot for wanting to raise and care for someone that has nothing to do with your family. Idiot, idiot, idiot!
What about this makes me an idiot? People that aren't related by blood can still become someone's family. Blood relation doesn't mean everything when it comes to who you love as your family.
You are frickin' brainless. Stupid frickin' mom. I'm sure you only did that out of the fear that you would have nobody as you continue to grow older. Well, he doesn't deserve anything from you, especially that money. I'm your actual family, so think about me before trying to find something from that brat.
Please do not talk about my son that way. He is the most important thing to me, and I won't stand for you being so cruel.
You don't need a son, Mom. You already have a daughter, and she's actually your real daughter. Go ahead and throw that brat away, because I'm sure he only wants to be with you for your money. You still have time to get rid of him before he gets all your money. Just toss him out and come to your daughter that you love so much, and let's become close again.
The only one that thinks of Brenda as an ATM is you. You're supposed to be her real daughter, yet you kicked her out of your life and house. I'm not going to sit by and let you talk to us like that anymore, you witch.
What?
You're not going to talk trash about my mum. Even if her and I aren't related by blood, she's called me her son so many times. So if you're going to keep that poor behaviour of yours up by making fun of her, I'm going to get right back at you.
What the heck? Are you really the kid my mom adopted?
I am, and so what?
Perfect timing. My mom doesn't seem to take a hint, so I'll have to tell you about this instead.
I'm sure that her and you want to be mother and son, but I'm not okay with it. I am not letting you have my mom, nor have any of that money she was given.
Why do I have to listen to a whore like you say things like that about us? You already forced your parents' divorce and cut ties to her, right? You and your dad left her when she needed you both the most, so shut the hell up.
You need to shut up. No matter what you have to say to me, I'm her actual daughter. And that makes her my mom. All you and her are trying to do is make a fake family to hide your flaws, so you fake losers can shut the hell up right now.
Who's the real fake loser here? I told her all the things I love about her and she knows it. So go ahead and tell me what you love about her. Could it be you like how she never complained to you and your dad when you'd force her to do all the chores for you? Or maybe you love her now because she's a millionaire. You say you're her real daughter, so tell me right frickin' now, what is it you love so much about her? You aren't anything to her, because you never loved her the way she wanted to love you. Do get the hell away from us, no matter how much money you need. I can't even begin to comprehend how a whore like you can come back to her when you were the one who took everything she loved away. Destroying another person's life all because you couldn't handle becoming an adult is one of the worst things I've ever had to learn about. Who the hell do you think you are?
I think that I'm her actual daughter.
You think that just because she gave birth to you, you can act like a jackass? You're older than me, and even I'm starting to think of you as some first grader. To think someone like you is even related to my mum by blood. I cannot believe it. It's pure insanity.
Huh?
Never talk to my mum again. Brenda is no longer your mother, so leave her be. You were the one that asked for her to never be your mother again, so live with your mistakes. If you understand what I've said, then delete her contact and never talk to her again.
Thank you for yesterday, Alex. Seeing you talk to someone as horrible as her like that really made me feel good again.
Actually, I'm really sorry about that. I just became so upset with what I was seeing that I snatched the phone from you to tell her what I thought. I'm sure that was not the best way to make a first impression with her. She's going to start saying her mum adopted some kind of demon child now.
You have no reason to worry about that. Also, the fact that you called me your mom yesterday made me so excited. Now tell me, how are things going with you and getting into that college overseas? You told me that today you'd learn more about it, right?
From what I've been told, I'll be able to get right into the college of my dreams over there. I was only told that a few minutes ago, actually.
Congratulations, Alex! This is amazing for you, isn't it?
It appears that the agent I was working through to set this all up knows one of the administrators at the college, and so he was able to send all my documents and that essay straight to him. And after looking through it all, he told me he wants me to start going there next semester. I have a small entrance exam to take still, but I'm sure it'll be fine.
Well, of course it'll be fine. You've studied so hard and diligently for something like this, so you'll pass it easy peasy. I am so happy to see you getting into the place of your dreams.
I promise to continue doing my best while I'm over there. I'll make sure that I'm never spoken as the son who is only after your money. I want people to call me the son that only wants to see his mother's love and is always working hard for it.
Thank you, Alex, but you don't have to prove any of that to anyone, all right? You will always be loved by me like my son. So don't push yourself too hard if you don't have to. As long as you and I keep living the way we are now together, there will be no complaints about the family we are.
Keep living like we have been together? Do you mean you'll be coming overseas with me?
I think so. It would be really fun, I think. Interesting, for sure. Also, being in this town still, in this state, has me feeling a bit worried, after finding out my ex is looking into me for my money. So getting out of this country for a while would really help me relax.
I think that's the best choice then. I've already been studying Spanish a lot, so when we get to Spain, you can rely on me.
You are always going to be my #1 son. Well then, I think you and I should get started on preparing for the trip out there. The move out there, I mean. Hey! Mom! Hurry up and open the door. Stop trying to act like you're not home. What? I was even able to bring Dad along this time. You can go ahead and get rid of the foster child so that the 3 of us can live together again. It's not okay for just the 2 of you to have that $2 million. You have to be kidding me, right? Did you actually come to the house with a plan like that? If you're going to use that money on some stranger, then you can use it on your family as well. To tell you the truth, Dad and I are really in need of some financial assistance. If we can't get some of that money you have, then we'll be in hot water. What did you just say? Actually, Dad started to borrow a lot of money this year. He was making a lot of money through his job after a raise and promotion, but he started to put it all into the stock market and lost it all. Right now he owes at least $300,000. He has to pay back that much money? And as for myself, I just quit my job. But even after leaving my job, I haven't found anyone who will hire me. So you both have really been in need of some money then? And now you think you can get the woman you both threw away to help you using her parents' money? Once you let us live with you again, you'll be thankful to have your whole family back. You'll see that you really don't need that money-hogging brat anymore. So hurry up and let us inside. I'm sorry, but I've already gone and sold that house. As of right now, both Alex and I are on a plane. And we won't be back to the US for a few years at the very least. What? What do you mean? My son is going to college overseas. So while he's doing that, I thought I'd move overseas with him as it's a perfect chance for me. Huh? I was also worried about what other trouble you and your father would cause, and I was right that something would happen again. So that's why I chose to move, to get that anxiety I had of you both out of my head. It was the perfect choice on my end to have us move away a few months ahead of him having to start school. There's no way. Then what is going to happen to Dad and I? We really need that money you have. Dad is in a lot of debt and I don't have a job. You are the only person we can ask to help us, Mom. Now come on, Christine. Could you stop calling me your mom? I was never going to help you both with anything after what you did to me, so go home. Mom! Good luck with whatever problems you have. Let's both work on taking great care of our separate families from now on, okay? After getting into Spain, I had my SIM card changed and was no longer getting texts or calls from Christine. From friends of mine back in town, they've told me that ever since the forced divorce, my ex's house has been a mess and has only gotten worse recently. And what's even more crazy is that both Christine and her father have been going around saying it'll only be a matter of time until they get some money out of me. But to everyone they tell that to, all they see is two very greedy and heartless individuals. And because of that, those two have pretty much lost all their friends and colleagues. Of course, no one ever came to help my ex pay off his debt, and even though he's been working for a very good company, he's having to start working a part-time job at night to make enough to pay things off. And as for Christine, she's had to start working a few jobs herself, all in order to help her dad pay off his debt, or else she too will get kicked out of his house.